Hey folks, Monday night was the top 6 on Season 4 of The Voice. Only one person will be eliminated this week, unless of course it's the Swon brothers, and then I guess technically it'll be 2. Last week we said goodbye to Sarah Simmons and Judith Hill, so each of the coaches have one person left, except Blake. His entire team is still intact. It's Adam's fault really that the bulk of his team left in one fell swoop, because you don't let the strongest member of your team sing a song by will.i.am and Justin Bieber. That's just asking for trouble. And Adam got himself into a little bit of trouble on last week's results show too, when he said that he hates this country, but he didn't mean it. I say that kind of stuff all the time when the results don't go the way that I think they should have. Some people just make it a full-time job to make us stink about nothing and just look for reasons to call people unpatriotic. These are mostly the same people that were ready to renounce their citizenship and hightail it to Saskatchewan when President Obama was reelected, so I don't put much stock into what they say. Anyway, the top 6 got 2 songs this week, one chosen by their coach and one they got to choose themselves. I like that they seem to be getting a little bit more control over their song choices this season. I think they should always get to pick their own songs, but their coaches should be able to veto their song choices to keep them from making catastrophic mistakes. Of course, sometimes the coaches' song choices aren't any better, but whatever. Anyway, on to the performances. The first of the night was Holly Tucker, of course. Poor Holly. Going first again. I wonder if she cried when she found out that she was in the death spot once again. I know I sure would have. Well, I know it doesn't matter as much now that they have 2 songs each, since everybody will be performing in the second half of the show, but still, they could try to make it look a little bit like they're trying to be fair, but whatever. Anyway, the song that Blake chose for Holly this week was When God-Fearing Women Get the Blues by Martina McBride, and he said that he picked it because showing some attitude worked for Holly last week, so he figured, why not do it again? Because she doesn't have any attitude, Blake, that's why. Last week I think it was more luck than anything else for Holly. Maybe she'll get lucky again this week, I don't know. I didn't think this was a good song choice though at all. I just don't believe Holly has that attitude. I don't care what her mama says. I just don't believe it. And so a foot-stomping country song just does not make any sense for Holly. For me, it was like watching the designated driver at a karaoke bar that's gone there with her co-workers just to prove to everybody in the office that she actually can sing. Maybe with a few drinks it would have been okay, but I watched it stone cold sober, and I was not impressed. And the coaches didn't really seem to be impressed with it either. Usher said that it was a pretty good performance, but he wanted to see more. Adam and Shakira both said it was fun, which, translated from voice coach babble to English, means they didn't like it at all. Blake said that it was his favorite performance of the season from Holly, but raise your hand if you think Blake really cares whether Holly stays or goes this week. She actually would cut into Danielle's fan base, I think, more than anybody else, so he probably wants her gone. The song Holly picked for herself this week was My Wish by Rascal Flatts, dedicated to her parents because apparently she loves them and they love her, which is not all that surprising because that's usually how parent-child relationships work, except in dysfunctional families. Anyway, now she did a good job with it, although she sounded a little bit more strained this week than she usually does, and the whole standing on the fake pier in front of a fake lighthouse thing, it was quite silly, and the song itself was too boring to be a game changer for Holly. It just was not enough to rescue her from being the weakest link in the top 6, and so I'll be really surprised if she defies the odds again this week. The coaches point out that she's been consistently good, and she has, but she's also been consistently pretty boring. Next up, Michelle Chamuel. The intro for Michelle's first performance didn't really have much to do with the song. It was mainly Usher and Michelle talking about how much they adore each other. Won't y'all two just go ahead and get a room? My gosh. No, at least Usher didn't have her doing push-ups or singing to mirrors or any of that other nonsense that he usually does. He said that he wants to continue working with Michelle regardless of what happens on the show. Well, I bet he does. He's going to need somebody out there raking in the cash for him once little Justin Bieber gets himself locked up or killed with his crazy driving. Anyway, the song Usher picked for Michelle this week was Somewhere Only We Know. Seemed like a pretty good song choice to me in theory, but I didn't think it turned out to be one of Michelle's better performances at all. I didn't like it. I didn't even think she sounded good. Well, she never sounds flawless. I think that's part of her real person appeal, but she usually sounds good. I didn't think she did this time around. The coaches seemed to love it, though. Adam mentioned something about her coming back from last season. Was she on last season? If she was, I don't think they showed her last season, and I don't remember any mention of her being a second-timer this time around up until now, so I don't know, maybe Adam's just confused. Who knows? Anyway, the song Michelle picked for herself this week was I Knew You Were Trouble by Taylor Swift, and she said that she picked it on the account of Taylor Swift being so amazing. I don't know about that. Whenever somebody does a Taylor Swift song on one of these shows, I always get the sense that they pick it to be current without being a big challenge. But who knows, maybe Michelle is a great big Taylor Swift fan. Stranger things have happened. Anyway, during rehearsal, Taylor Swift showed up, and she seemed super excited that Michelle was going to be singing her song, and Usher acted like that was was a big deal, you know, having the seal of approval from the original artist, but I never put much stock into that because they usually say they like it whether they really do or not. This time, though, she probably was telling the truth because it was a really good performance. Leaps and bounds better than Michelle's first performance this week, and I think it was the closest thing to a real rock performance that we've seen in a while on this show, which is strange coming from a Taylor Swift song, but I really did like it, and the crowd did too, obviously, and so did the coaches, of course. Blake was even a little bit jealous that Michelle is on Usher's team and not his. Next up, the Swon brothers. The song they picked for themselves this week was Wagon Wheel by Hootie Without the Blowfish. Call him Darius Rucker all you want, but for those of us that grew up in the 90s, he will always and forever be Hootie. Can I get an amen? Now, during rehearsal, the Swon brothers once again felt the need to remind us that they are from Oklahoma. We get it already. My gosh, I'm about sick of hearing it. Well, they said that people don't realize how rich Oklahoma is in music. No, we realize it. I think most of us just don't really care. Hell, I don't even know if I could pick Oklahoma off the map. Anyway, I really did not think these guys were going to be able to outdo the dumb set that they had last week with the silly campfire. But this week they proved me wrong by having the stage set up like an old-time saloon, complete with saloon hookers. It was about the dumbest thing that I've ever seen. They sounded fine. I thought it was a good song choice, but all the dancing hookers kind of made it feel more ridiculous than it needed to. It was nowhere near as ridiculous as their second performance, though. The song Blake picked for them was Okie from Muskogee. It's a dumb Oklahoma hillbilly anthem. You know, just last week I was ready to give Blake the award for dumbest song ever sung on the show when he did that Chewbacca spit stupid song that he did. But I might have to revoke that though and give it to the Swon brothers this week because this is one awfully stupid song. When the song starts out with, "We don't smoke marijuana in Muskogee," you know it's going to be a real stupid song. The Swon brothers, they didn't used to be this country, did they? At the beginning, they were only a little bit country, and now it's like they just crawled down from the mountains with their guitars in one hand and a jug of moonshine in the other, and I don't think it's doing them any favors. Two really honky-tonk songs in one night. I know everybody acts like country music is the most popular music in America, since country singers do really well on these shows, but really, real country singers don't always do that well. A lot of them that they call country singers now wouldn't even have been classified country back even a few years ago. I don't think that this foot-stomping country is all that popular, so if Holly is able to beat the odds once again, then the Swon brothers could be in trouble this week. If not, they'll be gone next week, so it really don't matter that much, does it? Next up, Amber Carrington. The song Adam picked for Amber this week was I Remember You by Skid Row. Hasn't Adam gotten contestants eliminated before by giving them 80s hair band power ballads? Well, he thought that he could toss in a mandolin and a banjo and turn it into a country song. His logic is throw in a banjo and bam, you got yourself a country song, and that really just is not the way it works. No, I didn't think this was a good song choice. I can appreciate not wanting to do the same thing week after week, but Adam has had Amber all over the spectrum, so nobody even knows where she fits in. And then he calls it a risk. It's a risk when you take someone out of their normal element, but when people don't even know what their normal element is, it's just a little bit all over the map and it's chaotic. So I didn't get it. And what was all that scribbling on the screen behind Amber? Was that the Declaration of Independence or something? I don't know. Maybe it was the Constitution. By the end of the song, Amber was performing in the middle of the Ring of Fire, and it looked like the Constitution or the Declaration of Independence burning up in the background. Maybe it was Adam's way of saying that he hates America once again. And the song Amber picked for herself this week was Crazy by Patsy Cline. Now, I love Patsy Cline, so maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I hated the way that she sang this song. I absolutely hated it. She put almost a whininess into the song, and it made her sound like a warped old record. Remember those old records that they got a little bit warped? They sounded crazy like that, and that's what she sounded like to me. Blake said that it was one of his sacred songs that should never be attempted, but that she did a good job with it. Translation, he hated it. Adam hemmed and hawed about it for a little bit, but I got the sense that he wasn't crazy about it either. Of course, he'd never come right out and say that, even if he didn't like it. Next up is Danielle Bradbery. The song Blake picked for Danielle this week was Shake the Sugar Tree by Pam Tillis, and he said he picked it because since Danielle had done really well with a Pam Tillis song already, why not try another one? Blake, that's exactly why you should pick another song, so we can hear something new from Danielle. She's already done multiple Carrie Underwood songs, and now multiple Pam Tillis songs. He didn't have to give her Mariah Carey or anything crazy like that, but a little bit more variety would be nice. I mean, I really like Danielle, but there is getting to be a sameness to her performances. She sounded good, but we've seen this same performance from her several times now, so it was a little bit boring. And what the hell is a sugar tree anyway? And did she really need a tree on stage with her this week? These set designers, they're getting so literal this season, aren't they? Of course, the coaches had nothing but nice things to say about it. Blake even compared Danielle to his wife, which is a little bit creepy. And the song Danielle picked for herself this week was A Little Bit Stronger by Sarah Evans, and apparently she picked it to remind her sister what a failure she is in the romance department. No, well, apparently she thought that she could connect with the song vicariously through her sister or something like that. That isn't how love and heartache works, Missy. You got a lot to learn. No, she sounded fine once again, and she still is probably going to win, but if we keep hearing this mid-tempo sameness from her, she might allow Michelle Chamuel to sneak past her for the title this season. And what was that dress that she was wearing? She looked like Little Red Riding Hooker. And the last up is Sasha Allen. Of course, Sasha was the biggest surprise last week. Most everybody was convinced that she was going home, and even Shakira basically gave her a eulogy before the results were announced. I think maybe Shakira fans saved her more than the actual Sasha fans, though, because I don't know if there really are that many Sasha fans. Anyway, the song Sasha picked for herself this week is Ain't No Way by Aretha Franklin, and she picked it because it's her mom's favorite song, and I thought it was a pretty good song choice. If you're going to do an Aretha Franklin song, better this one than Natural Woman or something like that. So I thought this was probably her best performance yet. Wasn't crazy about the yellow dress that she was wearing. It had me want to call her Sponge Sasha's square dress, but she sounded really good, and I didn't even mind that she was as over-dramatic as she always is, because you can kind of get away with that doing an Aretha Franklin song, so I quite liked it. And so did the coaches. Adam once again pretended to be mad at himself for kicking her off his team, but he would have just got her kicked off anyway, like he did with Judith Hill. Usher said that it was one of her best performances, and it was. And Shakira said that Sasha is the only contestant that could have pulled that song off. Well, duh. Somehow I don't think the Swon brothers would have even tried it. And Sasha's second performance in the pimp spot is the song that Shakira picked for her, Before He Cheats by Carrie Underwood. What was she thinking? She must have got into Blake's Moonshine or something, because I thought this was a terrible song choice. Well, I know Sasha sang a country song for her audition, but it wasn't country like this song is country. Sasha started this performance in a red dress at the top of the steps, and there was just so much going on in the background. It's a good thing I don't have epilepsy, because it probably would have sent me into seizures with all that stuff going on in the background. And then Sasha ripped the dress off to reveal a slut costume underneath. I mean, she looked like something straight out of a Swon Brothers performance. I think all that extra nonsense was just to be a distraction from the fact that she didn't sound very good singing this song. I thought she sounded kind of awful. She put on a show, but she sounded just a mess. The crowd loved it, though, and the coaches loved it. I didn't get it, but I never underestimate the power of the pimp spot. Couple that with the fact that her first performance was really good, and Sasha ain't got nothing to worry about this week. So I think going home this week, it's pretty obviously going to be Holly, but I've been calling Holly going home every week, and she still hasn't. She's defied the odds. I don't think she will this week, but maybe she will, and it'll be the Swon brothers going home. Anyway, leave me a comment and let me know who you think's going home. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. My YouTube Chamuel. Subscribe to my YouTube Chamuel. Come be my Facebook friend. Yeah, I already said that, didn't I? Bye.